very much a community-driven type of law enforcement. They listen to their community, they work with their community, and basically they're not they are proactive, not reactive, and sometimes they have to be a little bit reactive. And in this case, this is the reaction that they've come up with because of the public outcry. A lot of people are saying, oh, these pursuits are dangerous. These pursuits are this and that, and that's the reason why these new policies have been implemented.
We even saw earlier in that chase, you guys may recall from a couple of hours ago, we saw a police cruiser just by sheer accident rear end another car as they were pursuing another chase suspect in a different area that was in the San Gabriel Valley and different parts of the Los Angeles area. So that does happen, and they have to make these tough calls. They really have to split the difference and say what is going to be in the public interest, what is going to be the safest way to end this. And sometimes that's a situation that you see like this, where I suppose a lot of members of the public are wondering why they aren't intervening, but they have to make that tough call.
Well, they're tracking, and they're trying to do this in the safest way possible. I mean, you have obviously a lot of people here at risk every time this person does this, every time there is a chase. Every time there's a pursuit,
like
these drivers get very aggressive. They get penned in. They get desperate, and things happen. And they have to walk that line. They do such a good job of making sure that it doesn't escalate to something that's worse. But of course, if it does, and that's not on LAPD. The person behind the wheel is responsible for everything that they're doing. They could pull over. He could stop and get out of the vehicle and give up at any point in time.
Yeah, and you have
they have to weigh that. Do we pursue? Or do we stop? And if you stop, then what's the message you send to everybody else? It's like, okay, well, I can get in a vehicle and have a pursuit, and nobody's going to bother with it.
Yeah, it's a tough call to make for that reason and for a lot more. And you have to imagine that this person who's driving is kind of thinking in their own minds, hey, what is my chance of getting away here? I think we're starting to see the night sun back on them. What is my chance of getting away here? Because if they were thinking clearly, they would be kind of, running through the fact that, hey, I'm going to be in a lot bigger trouble if this is to stop. This person is obviously going to be racking up the charges the longer this goes. So they maybe in their own minds think they have a good shot of getting away.
Let's go back up to Stu Medell and Sky 9. Stu?
Well, right now I can tell you we're going to be westbound on the on the 10. No, wait a minute. Were we back on? We're westbound 10 freeway, so we're on the westbound 10 freeway. The vehicle continues to move very, very quickly, and I just wanted to make sure I had all my ducks in a row here before I said it on air. But apparently LAPD's pulled out altogether. They've said we're done with this. California Highway Patrol, their helicopter is overhead, and they're basically said it's yours. The helicopter is doing basically what the LAPD was doing. They're just keeping an eye on the vehicle right now, trying to see where he's going, what he's going to do. Now he's off the freeway, back in the LAPD's territory, but that doesn't mean that California Highway Patrol will not get behind it on the ground if there's a unit in place. The vehicle continues to try to elude officers, make these crazy turns right there. There's another one. Basically looked like he was thinking about making a right from the left lane and then said, yeah, you know what, I'm just going to keep going north. We are definitely going to be in this is the area they call Mid-City, and yeah, we're right by the cemetery, so I should know this right by heart by now, right? This is going to be
squeezing
right
through
about
on
the time I get it, where he's going to make a turn. But we just went through Venice. I know that for a fact. And I believe we're on Airolo. This is going to be Airolo. And so we just went through Venice, and he's just continuing higher speeds than normal. Actually, it says Normandy. So a little bit higher speeds than normal, and very reckless in their driving. If this comes to an end with another crash, it'll be devastating for sure. But right, northbound Normandy approaching Pico. Our assignment desk just gave me that information. So it's continuing on, and it seems like every intersection he's making these little weird turns, just kind of like swooping around just to make sure. But even with all of that, it's a stolen vehicle, and you're right. The driver is the one that's making all these decisions. This person could pull over, get out of the vehicle. As far as racking up the charges, they are not sitting there going, okay, that's another red light. Okay, that's a lane change without a blinker. Okay, that's a dangerous move. It's just eluding and in a stolen vehicle. There we go. California Highway Patrol in the LAPD's area, getting behind it, lights and sirens. So what does this mean per se? Well, to me, it means the public might be a little bit safer.
Okay, we're going to break the signal up there. We'll go to Stu just as soon as we can, but this is going to be the latest pursuit here in LA, stolen vehicle. Let's go back up to Stu. Now, this gets a little more dangerous as they go right through the red lights. We have re-engaged, CHP has, and you mentioned all the
getting close.
all the charges that they rack up, going the wrong way, going through a big intersection. There's a person in the
we're
crosswalk.
well into Mid-City now. If we're talking Normandy and Arolo and all of these streets here. And again, this is another part of Los Angeles where people are out walking, where people walk, take public transit to get from their day-to-day activities. And even at this time of night, people are out walking. We have seen a couple of people out in the streets, and we're getting a little bit too close for comfort here. This person really skirting by a couple of vehicles, and I think I still see Stu, CHP on the ground right behind them.
Yep, there they are, right behind them. California Highway Patrol, those drivers extremely high trained. I mean, they're all law enforcement, are very well trained with driving. California Highway Patrol, I think they take a little bit more pride in their driving skills. That officer down there has to follow the rules. You always have to remember that. When he gets up to these red lights, he has to slow down, make sure the intersection is clear before he runs through it. We're eastbound on Olympic Boulevard right now. I can't tell you the exact cross, but eastbound Olympic. We got off, last big one was Normandy. That's the one we were going northbound on. Now we're on Olympic. We're making our way back into the downtown area. You actually see the signs right there. So technically we are downtown. Looks like another turn to the north as this chase continues. Now there's one on the ground, and now the California Highway Patrol on the ground saying too dangerous, too much traffic.
Very
We're
close.
backing off.
Yeah, that was a big sweeping left-hand turn there, coming to an intersection, barely slowing down. You were talking, there's some pedestrians in the crosswalk making another left-hand turn. Stu was talking about all the charges that they rack up, but it's interesting. What is being done right now is a situation where that's just one. That's pursuit, and all the charges come with that. But if he crashes into somebody, if he injures somebody, if he kills somebody, heaven forbid, then that's a whole slew of other charges, and that's a lot more prison time.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, that person knows that they are in significant trouble at this point. They know, they may not know the particulars, but and none of us necessarily do right now. But they know that they're in serious trouble. They know that CHP is on their tail on the ground, and then again from the sky. So now we're in the downtown area. We're going to start to see more people diving out of the way just like that. Unfortunately, really, really scary and uncomfortable for us to be watching that. Because it just takes a split for something to go terribly wrong, and that is something that no one wants to see happen. And it does seem, Jeff, to me, like in the last couple of minutes that they have been back on this person's tail on the ground, that they've started to speed up and drive a little bit more recklessly and a little bit more desperately. More
desperate for sure since the CHP re-engaged. Let's go back up to Stu Medell in Sky 9. Stu, pretty fast speeds here on these surface streets.
Definitely. I believe we're on Wilshire Boulevard making our way into the downtown area, so that means we're going to start dealing with some of these buildings, and the shots might get a little off. Just letting you guys know that. Also, to be very, very clear, the California Highway Patrol on the ground, too dangerous. That's what he said, and he backed off. Right there, that's going to be the 110 freeway underneath us. Going to be some on-ramp choices, but it doesn't look like he's taking any of them as he's making his way into the downtown area. Now, there is nobody on the ground chasing him, and again, here we go with these buildings. So I'm going to work with Zeus here just for a second or two, and I'll be back with you guys in a minute.
Yeah, no problem. And the other thing is that this could end. We do see this happen every now and then when chases go on for a really long time, that this could end with this person either damaging their car in some way or running out of gas. And I think that is another scenario that maybe law enforcement is thinking that would probably be a good thing at this point. Again, we're talking about a stolen vehicle that started in the downtown area. It has looped through Mid-City, East Los Angeles, and points south and east. And now we're starting to see what this person is going to do in traffic in the downtown area.
I can't tell you, though, even though LAPD and CHP have backed off, they will be there lickety-split if something was to happen, if this guy was to decide to pull over and give up, or if there was an accident or something like that.
Oh, they're in the area.
They are in the area, and they are monitoring, and they will be there in a moment's notice pretty quickly to do what needs to be done in this situation.
Stu was mentioning one of the challenges of following a pursuit in the downtown area is now we're having to contend with high rises that are kind of blocking our shot. And you can imagine blocking the view of the CHP helicopters, LAPD helicopters, LA sheriffs, whoever may be following this from above. And, you know, that may be a tactic that this
Look,
person
he's
is trying
westbound. He's gotta
to
be on this
employ
street
to
right
their
here.
advantage, trying to get out of the view of law enforcement from above. But you mentioned that there are a lot of police officers that are in this area that patrol regularly. And so just because they may be out of sight,
I think that's it right there.
it
Steve.
doesn't necessarily mean
No, that's not it.
No, yeah,
doesn't
you're right.
necessarily mean that officers aren't very, very close by.
Well, you know, and there's an element of danger even more so at night than there is during the daytime. I mean, obviously, with it being dark, you're not able to see as far. And when you're talking about vehicles that are driving at high rates of speed, they come up on things a little more quickly as a result of that. And so I think that police do back off of these a little bit more at nighttime because, I mean, you see a cyclist there on the left. We've seen a number of pedestrians. It's a dangerous situation because it's on surface streets, but at night makes it even more so compared to during the day.
One of the things we don't know, and we'll have to find out in the near future here, is how this car was stolen. We don't know exactly the circumstances of how that happened, or if this was a situation sometimes where you see an officer that spots a stolen vehicle after running plates or something like that. You can hear the frustration in Stu's voice because it is just so hard to keep track of a dark car at night on surface streets when you don't have a black and white on their tail.
Yeah, let's get some new information to you. We're going to bring up an inset box in here for the viewers so you can take a look at some of the highlights, if you will. I hate to call them highlights, but we're going to show you some of the maneuvers by this pursuit earlier. We started at just at the beginning of the 8 o'clock hour. We had our lead story of the pursuit in Pasadena, and then we engaged with this at a breaking news just right out of that. So basically the top of the hour, so we've been doing this for about 50 minutes. I will tell you, we do have some more information. It appears that vehicle, they know the license plate. It's a 2019 Mercedes that appears to be registered to a business. So I don't know if that might explain a little bit more, but it appears that Mercedes is stolen from a possible business. It might be some sort of executive's vehicle or something like that, but that may give you just a clearer picture as to how this vehicle is stolen.
You know, and if it's 2019 Mercedes, you have to assume that they have the onboard technology to track the vehicle, a lot of times from a cell phone through an app. So the owner of this car very well could be communicating with law enforcement, trying to give them more information about where they see their vehicle on the map.
Absolutely. Stay with us here on KCAL 9. We'll continue to follow this pursuit right after the break.
We are a AAA family. I was introduced through my family. My husband was introduced through his family. We had the same insurance company for a long time, and we were fed up with paying a lot of money. We decided to go check out AAA insurance. We were shocked of how much we would save.
Switch to AAA insurance today, and you could save an average of $508 on auto insurance. Compare that to Geico, State Farm, even Allstate. Call now for your free auto insurance quote to find out how much you could save.
By switching to AAA insurance and bundling our insurance policies, we're able to save over $450. The savings that we get through AAA insurance enables us to do more of what we love. More gas in our car to go camp. You do s'mores. You can't lose the s'mores. Yeah.
To find out how much you could save by switching to AAA insurance, call 877-797-7769 for your free auto insurance quote today. AAA Insurance, helping you save more.
The tools of a RE/MAX agent. The 3D home tour. The site with all the listings. The staging assistance.
Cool house. Oh.
The showing request.
I can tell you we're going to continue to look for him, as is the CHP helicopter, but at this point, as you know, Mark, it's kind of a needle in the haystack.
Right, and it occurs that, this was a Mercedes, and a lot of Mercedes have, a proprietary tracking software, or whatever you want to call it, mechanism in the vehicle that you can purchase as part of, when you buy it. where you can they can locate your car, and if it breaks down, they can send somebody to you and that kind of thing. So it is possible.
Very true. In fact, this one does, and this one does. In fact, that's how they I believe that's how they actually picked up this pursuit in the first place. I think it started in LAPD's Northeast Division, and I believe it was if not a LoJack hit, a similar device, and they were able to pick it up that way. In fact, the car itself had not even yet been reported stolen when they picked it up. So
wow.
They were using their GPS technology to find it, and they may very well use that same technology to find him later on this evening.
All right, well, let's hope. And until then, we're going to call this one off for now. The fourth pursuit of the day on